Do equalizers have a reason to exist? This question comes from Gianni in Modena, Italy. Modena? Isn't that where they make the great balsamic vinegars? Ooh. I've heard stories that some people have vinegars that have been in the family for years, for decades, that they treasure and they only use drops of. And man, I'd like to try some of that stuff. I buy expensive balsamic vinegar from Modena, but nothing like that, and I would love to try it. Hey, Paul, I wonder what you think about equalizers. Do they still have a reason to exist in 2018? So by equalizers, I'm thinking that Gianni thinks and is referring to like a graphic equalizer, right? Something, or maybe in the old days when we had bass and treble controls, right? So years ago, I think we had a lot of bass and treble controls because there was a serious need for it. The speakers of those days, the systems of those days were really quite inadequate in terms of frequency response and smoothness. And over time, the bass and treble controls, the graphic equalizers, the sound craftsmen, all the great glorious EQ-driven products of those days kind of faded away because over time we've been able to do a lot better. Our systems today are pretty full range, especially if you have a subwoofer installed. You can go from 20, 30,000 hertz with a decent tweeter all the way down to 16 hertz with a decent subwoofer and have very good response in between. We've taken our time to get the rooms better. We've done great things with electronics. So I would say that the need for equalizers that are used to make up for deficiencies in products is probably less now than at any time we've ever had in the past. So the quick answer to that is, yeah, you don't need those. But then we start to think about recordings. Many recordings. I have a library full of recordings here and many more that I have on a server. And many of these have just glorious music, stuff that's just, what a treasure. And if only some of those older recordings, or some of the ones that were poorly done, but they're phenomenal musical masterpieces, just not great recordings, if only somebody could take those and remaster them, or just bump up the bottom end or the top end a little bit, or tone it down, maybe give a little bit of expansion to take some of that compression out of there. Wouldn't that be cool? That would really be good. Not for the equipment. We don't need it anymore for the equipment, but the recordings of old, if you're like me, you have a lot of master classics and stuff that would really help by the hand of a good mastering engineer. In fact, it's one of the reasons why many of the pieces of music that I have in my library are remastered by Gus Skinnis, by Bernie Grundman, by people who know what they're doing and care about the quality of music, but they're far and few between. Most of the classics today could really stand some help. And I got to tell you, there's a number of remastered pieces I have that, I don't know, why'd you bother? I mean, it's just, they're not very good. It takes serious skills and chops in order to do it, and especially to make it work for a particular system. So, by means of this build-up, sorry, I didn't mean to extend it out, we're working on an idea that's going to be cool. So one of these days, we're going to build a piece of equipment that within that product, when you play back a piece of digitally recorded music, whether you ripped it off a CD, whether you streamed it, or wherever you have it in your library, and stored it, when you play that back, you will be able to take a graphic equalizer, maybe on your iPad. This is all in the hazy, Paul, crazy brain stage right now, right? But somehow we're going to make it easy for you to just tweak up this and bump that or reduce this, make some changes, minor, major if you want, but I don't think anything really deserves major, but you'll be able to do some tweaking to that and then hit record. Now when you hit record, it's not going to change the actual data. It's going to change a meta file, a little tag thing that goes along and says, hey, next time you play this, play it at this volume level and make these subtle changes so that when I play it back, it's going to sound better. And that's a product we're working on, and that's a place where I believe the EQ of the future and the things and the enhancements, wait till you see what we have up our sleeve, that's going to be cool, because now you will be able to have a custom library that fits your needs and your desires. And I think that's going to be really cool. So that's my answer. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate it. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.